Hello, and welcome to HEXtherapy.live. I'm your host, Maddie Allen, and this is my co-host.
I'm Joe HEXotic. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us tonight.
We've got an awesome show prepared for you. And so we're going to start off by going over some of the statistics of the HEX conference to let you know how amazingly popular it was. And then we'll be bringing on some special guests.
All right, Maddie.
I still can't believe these numbers. They're so big.
This is YouTube statistics?
Yes, just on YouTube, the conference has gotten over 300,000 people impressed.
Wow. 300,000.
Yes. And now the amount of views is 27,000, and the unique viewers is 8.2K. That's like a whole stadium full of people. And I think people will continue to watch the conference for days and years to come. And so already 12,000 hours of conference viewing, and we can't thank the community enough for all the people who spoke and all the people who were there hanging out in the comments, learning about HEX and improving their knowledge, right?
Maddie, you said 300,000 impressions?
That's right.
Is that right? So that's like 600,000 eyeballs?
Yeah, at 1.99999 eyeballs per viewer. It's a lot of eyeballs.
That's a lot of eyeballs. Wow. That's incredible. Congratulations. Job well done, Maddie.
Well, thank you as well, because you were a huge part of organizing this. So I think we make a good team.
I know we do, Maddie. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
That's why I'm excited that people are tuning in tonight to watch our show, HEX Therapy Live. And this show is focused on understanding HEX and understanding how it can improve people's lives and change their behaviors. And so we've got an all-star lineup tonight. Let's go ahead and bring our guests on. Hey, guys.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Good to be here.
How are you doing, guys?
Our wonderful leader, Matty. He's doing a wonderful job.
Thank you so much. So we're going to go around. I mean, we've got all these awesome personalities here, and I know that they're going to bring so much hype and knowledge to you tonight that it's going to be kind of unreal. And so to start off, we'll just go around one by one and let everybody say, what's your purpose in crypto here? Joe, do you want to start it off?
I was sharing out the link, Maddie. Why don't I go afterwards, if you don't mind?
Sure. Freddie?
Yeah, sure, I'll go. I believe when you talk about your mission in crypto, there's so many things, right? Everyone is in crypto because they want to make mad gains. And I think a lot of people's dream is to get to the point where they can retire from their 9-to-5 or their day job or whatever it is they do, provide for their families, and then go out and somehow, at least from what I've learned in the HEX community, a lot of people want to make a difference in the world, not just in their families' lives. So like most people here on the group chat, we all have something specifically that we focus in. Mine mostly is ending homelessness, and people say, you know, that's a really big thing to do. It's going to be tough and it's going to be hard, and it's not going to be easy. And will I ever be able to completely eliminate homelessness? Probably not. But can I make an impact? Absolutely. So I believe the fastest way to do it and the easiest way to do it is to develop a system. If I can develop a system to end homelessness in my town, then I can take that system and implement that system in my county, and then in my state, and then across the entire country. One thing that I've learned in life is if you have a system to do something, like even if you buy a McDonald's, you go to McDonald's University, the first thing they teach you to do is how to sweep the parking lot. It's and then there's a system to it. So you don't just own a McDonald's, you don't just go in and start telling people to drop fries and flip burgers. You actually get out there, you go into the streets, into the parking lot, and you sweep your parking lot. It's the first thing that they teach you. So if you can develop that system, and I've developed a system throughout my career, different jobs that I've had, I used to do door-to-door sales for Verizon, business to business. And you will learn more doing business to business sales or door-to-door residential sales than any college education can ever give you. I swear. Krim, do you do that? Is that what you do? Do you do solar door-to-door?
Expert at that, yeah. I started like that, and it's the fastest way to learn,
It
honestly.
is 100%. I mean, you learn how to manage your finances. I was 100% commission, so you have to learn your break even, how to manage money. Big Pep put out a good video about that yesterday about understanding and setting a budget. But you learn how to speak to people, public speaking, having confidence in areas that you normally wouldn't, taking control of the situation, different things that you can do. So I've learned through different jobs that I've had that you need a system. And real quick, I don't want to bore everyone here, but my system essentially would go like this. When I can get to the point where I can retire from my mad gains in Hex, I want to start going business to business, and there's different parts of it, right? So a lot of the homeless community have mental illness, so I'm going to go to doctors and therapists, and I'm going to ask them if they can volunteer an hour a week until I have 30 doctors and therapists who will volunteer that time. And then I'm going to go to businesses, and I'm going to get businesses to volunteer to hire the people that we bring in, and I'm going to go to condo and apartment complexes and ask them to donate rooms or homes, or try to find people to donate homes and buildings where they can live. So they'll have a purpose. And then at that point, it's just going out into the communities and getting the buy-in from the homeless people themselves, which is probably going to be the hardest part. I think getting everyone to volunteer and contribute will be easy. The hardest part will be getting the people who need the help to buy in. But long story short, that's, I guess, what my purpose is, just to live a selfless life and Christ-like life, and do what I can to help others.
That's
Very nice.
outstanding.
Grandma, would you like to go?
Well, sure. Primarily, I want to do educational things, and I want to grow my own wealth so that I can have enough money to do a few things to help progress in society. So my YouTube channel is educational about crypto, but eventually, if I can raise enough money for myself, I may want to get more into judicial reform. I mean, you know, doctors have to train for 8 years after college, while a judge or a lawyer only trains for 3 years. That's stupid. No wonder they're so bad. So we need judicial, we need police reform. You know, in Europe, you have to go to college for 3 years to be a police officer. In Cook County, Illinois, it's like 16 weeks. I mean, that's ridiculous. After high school. I mean, now they're starting to have associate degrees in criminal justice, but that's still so minimal. It's we're just perpetuating. They're essentially like you know, hunting slaves. That's where they evolved from, and they haven't progressed, the police in the United States. So we have a lot of work to do there. And then I care a whole lot about civil rights, about children's rights, about parental rights. And so there are a lot of areas of life that I've been involved with behind the scenes, done pro bono work, but I want to have enough money where I can push it a little farther.
That sounds awesome. Great.
Wow.
But, you know, there's nobody the average American has no education about finance or savings. They have no idea what they're doing. I want freedom from banks, freedom from the government, freedom from control of the 1% that own half the country. Middle class people, unfortunate people should, who don't have much money, should be able to invest and not be destroyed by investing. But how can you do that if you don't know anything about it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean, that is great. And then for me, it's funny because it started just out of just curiosity. I guess it's the mind of an engineer, but you know, I was being just curious about what this was about. And then when I find out what crypto was about, what the potential could be, like Freddie said, you know, I love system myself. At first, the system was, okay, I can send money across the world and back home, because again, being originally from Africa and seeing how expensive it is to send money back home, the same way if you know people from Southeast Asia and kind of the little scam that's going on right there. So that was the first use case. Wow, I can send money almost anywhere for a lot less, because I've been fortunate that, after finishing some of my schoolwork and started to go straight into business, making money got to me fairly easy. It was just more like, what is this crypto thing? So that was number one. And then specifically Hex, we're talking about building wealth. We're talking about the protection of your purchasing power, because I've always been of the mindset of like step by step you get ahead, not necessarily trying to, get the shortcuts and things like that. But when you understand what's happening, the macro environment or what's going on in the world, through education, like Grandma said, because you got to know what's going on. If you don't know what's going on, you won't even know what you're missing. So that led me to really understand how valuable purchasing power is, so you can actually do all the things that you want to do in life, right? The pyramid of Milo, right? So you got to get your basic needs in check, because I've seen extreme poverty. I've seen what it does to people that was usually, good, but then when the desperation kicks in, they become something they don't want to be. So, and you track the root of that is literally understanding money. So building my own system so I can then do the things that I really want to do in life, which is, again, helping other people as well, traveling the world, and also just bringing that education again and again and again. And that's why I find my, my position to be here in the community, just education,
Sounds awesome, Kareem. I love it.
Wonderful.
Hey everybody, I'm Bitfinesse. I'm 30. I'm gonna turn 35 on tax day this year, and I have no idea what I want to do with my life. Almost no idea, right? But I know I want to be free. I know I'm a sovereign, individual human being. Like Grandma said, like slavery didn't go anywhere; it just evolved. So, I know that I want to change my relationship with my government. I've drastically changed the relationship I have with my banks. I like my banks, by the way. I love my banks. They're allowing me to do stuff that few people in the world know that is possible, right? But some of the most interesting people I've ever known, don't know what they want to do with their lives. I don't have a problem with that, but I want to see the world become a more honest place. Thank God we have people like Maddie, Kareem, Grandma, Freddie. My God, really, I salute you for doing what you're doing. Joe, you're killing it, man. Like, look at that throne. You got some. I'm gonna find you one day and buy a throne from you, man. That's insane. If I oh, don't say that. I'll show up tomorrow. If I could just live long enough to see the world become not even an honest place. I understand that's super high aspirations. I just want to see it become more honest. I want to see this tide turn, because I know I'm just a baby, right? I was born like yesterday, right? But since I've been on this planet, I've just seen this decline in quality and honesty. And, it's disgusting. Like, it makes me throw up. It's terrible. I just want to see that trend either slow down or start to reverse. And I think we have an amazing community here that could actually make a super substantial impact and maybe even make that happen. I think it's going to take time, which is why, I think we should be in it for the long haul. I just watched I don't want to say how many times I watched it because it's a little bit embarrassing, but Kareem, I just re-watched for the umpteenth time your presentation on night one of Maddie's conference. It was amazing. And right after you were the guys from Krito Sparbuch. And I gotta say,
Nice.
Good job.
I think I finally, like, people say, oh, you gotta diversify, right? Diversify your investments. I think that goes right out the window with Hex. And when people say, oh, do your research, that's hilarious, because I've been doing research on Hex, trying to wrap my mind around this thing for what, 3 years now. And I think I finally now fully understand what a T-share is and where those daily payouts come from and why they go up. So I'm just, at the end of the day, I'm just glad to be here, guys, to be honest with you.
Same.
Awesome.
Thank you, brother.
You know what I call this? You just reached level 3 understanding. That's good. Repetition.
Very good. Very good.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very, very proud of you. You know, some people they see a problem and then they just like try once or twice and then they run away. You know what I mean? They don't understand that it's when you keep pounding and pounding that it gets you there. Like that's what happened even to me. Like people don't understand. Like it's just from growing up, even back in high school, like a problem gets really bad. I get a headache. I'm like, I'll go take a nap, but I'm gonna come back. Like I just not a quitter. But then once you figure it out, it's like light bulb. And then from there, you again, like you said, you become free, you're liberated. And then anytime around, boom. Just like in sales, sometimes you have to go back 7 times. And then the customer says yes on the 7th time, but then he gives you 20 referrals, people that you don't even have to talk to. You just send the paperwork. Like it's just, that's sometimes life just tests you like that.
Well, education is freedom. Education is freedom. Otherwise, you're stuck in these silos of just this one group or this one way of thinking. And your mind gets kind of stuck in concrete, you know?
Yeah. It's funny you say that, Krim. It's like, I think the average touches before a sale is 12.
Mm-hmm.
So 12 phone calls or 12 face-to-face visits, an email counts as a touch. Like there's 12 touches, I think, on average before you make. But your law of averages kick in. You're right. So then, you know, you'll close someone and then you'll just get a referral and it's no touches. They just come to you and say, hey, look, I want to do this. It's law of averages. Eventually, the numbers kick in.
No, absolutely. And imagine this. It's funny because it starts like that. And now imagine compounding that.
Right.
I've been doing, so to speak, sales for like 20 years. I mean, even back home, you know what I mean? Limited stay and this and that. So, and then imagine being in a similar industry 7, 8 years. By year 3, things start to kick in. You get that bump. And then by year 7, you become like a robot almost. It's like your batting ratio. I tell everybody, you just got to start, man. I don't care if it's 1 out of 100. Just start somewhere, figure out where you stand, and then build the system, and then start to like increase. It will naturally happen. And then that's why later years down the road, you know, maybe you swing 10 and then you get 8. And then people call you like you're a miracle. No, dude, you're 20 years in the making, overnight success, right? That's like the good joke. And
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited to see where this conversation goes, where this discussion goes, which will be the 3rd part of our program here. And I want to make sure we get a chance to hear from Joe HEXotic what his mission is, and then we'll get into the badges and then have an open discussion as well about Hex.
I wanted to say one thing, though. It's so interesting because it took me a long time to get my son to want to do this crypto stuff. And all of a sudden now, I'm getting messages from his friends who said, oh, you know, Tom says his mom's hip and really knows about it. Could you tell me about this cryptocurrency? It's so funny, these young people.
That's awesome. Bitfinesse will be right back, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah, should I go, Maddie, or do you want to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. I'm here by accident. You know, I'm here by the divine intervention, by a stroke of luck, by God's will, working through people. My friend HEXLive brought me in here to this community. I researched Richard Hart, made my first stake the first day I looked into Hex for Cuatro Cinco, and found the Hexican community. So what I was doing was working on helping other people because, as everybody may know, most people may know watching, I am an alcoholic, a recovering alcoholic, and part of my sobriety is to reach out to others, mostly to alcoholics, and to help them so that I can keep what I've been given. So my purpose in this community is to do God's will, to give back to other people, to help promote people's projects, to help give them a platform to speak on, to talk about recovery, faith, experience, strength, and hope. And really, just like everybody else said, I mean, it's all about helping others. So I was put here by serendipitous luck. And there couldn't be a better community for me to be a part of. This is an amazing, creative place, and I'm just truly blessed to be here.
Awesome.
Glad to have you, Joe.
Yeah.
Very good.
And
Love it. I love it.
Thank you.
it's hard to follow up all those. You know, my story is really specific because I've always been interested in programming mental health into money. And I think that the macroeconomics really are able to work in orders of magnitude larger than what I do in my day-to-day, which is to be a therapist for people one-on-one and in small groups. And I'm just so over the moon, no pun intended, and excited to be streaming because I am reaching a larger audience now than normal, than I would in my small clinic. And so I'm excited, and to be involved with all of you is really exciting and a blessing. So programming mental health into money, that is really possible with HEX. And I had been thinking about this for 2 or 3 years before HEX came along. And so HEX, being the hardest, best crypto ever invented, is the perfect place, I think, especially with this community of people. You've all said that part of your mission is to help other people, to help educate people, to make a difference in the world. And so I think that this is the community where we have the best chance to program mental health into money. And so Joe and I, we got really inspired by the conference, and we came up with a little system here that we're hoping will catch on as a way to honor different people in the community, and for you to honor yourself by earning a badge by completing certain behaviors. And we're hoping that this will develop into something further down the line that will not only reward people for what they've already done, but also reward people for things that they haven't done yet or that they want to do. And this is part of a system that we see could be possible, in which people pay themselves to have positive behavior changes, to mint health by paying themselves to stop bad habits. We know that contingency management has the strongest effect size out of any intervention in psychology, yet it's rarely used. But when it is used, it makes a huge difference. And so we have invited everybody here to pick one of the badges, and they can help explain the badges, the first 6 that we created, what the significance of each one is in terms of honoring the history of HEX and the different ways that HEX has been designed to appreciate and value and be a mechanism through which people can save for the future without screwing it up themselves by emergency ending their savings plan too early, or by not being incentivized to save because the currency that they're in is depreciating and yet isn't paying any interest without taking undue risk, like in the stock market. So let me go ahead and do a share screen here and just show kind of what this looks like, and then we can go into the descriptions. So these are the badges, and it just so happens that this is live. It's happening now. You can go to HEXbadge.io, or you can go to t.me/HEXbadge, and you'll find the instructions and the links to go to this website that works with your MetaMask or with your other crypto wallets, and it allows you to get one of these NFTs, which stands for non-fungible token. And Joe and I did the artwork ourselves. It's kind of an homage to the logo that I started with, but it's got the HEX white paper in a word cloud on top of it. And the first one that we created was to honor the speakers at the first HEX conference. And then we created 5 other ones that are here that signify different achievements in HEX so far. So
Amen.
Maddie, we have the
Wow. So creative.
thank you. Yeah, we created badges to give a nostalgia feel now for what we just all went through with the launch phase of Hex. So each one of the badges, other than the speaker badge and the attended the first Hex conference badge, are the the things that we've had the most fun with in Hex. A few of them actually even have their own pages on go.hex.com. So really, this is something that each one of these were pumpamentals that excited me to be a part of the community, and I'd love to be able to say I qualify for all of them, but I wasn't here for day one, so no day FOMO for me. I didn't have Bitcoin, so no Bitcoin free claim. I was lucky enough to be in the adoption amplifier, lucky enough to take part in Big Payday, and honored to be a speaker at the first Hex convention. So all of those were attainable in the launch phase of Hex, other than the speaker and the and attended the conference. So going forward, like Maddie said, we're going to have some badges, that everybody can try to attain. So maybe next year there's the speaker at the Hex 2022 conference, right? And how would you become that if you're just watching at home? You would do what Maddie and I did. You would start a stream, get active in the Hex community, be consistent, build trust, show up when you say you're going to show up, because I heard that showing up is 90% of everything. Is that true?
Yep.
Show up for yourself.
And so there's badges out there now to celebrate, to look back on, to appreciate what Richard Hart and Hex has built and given us all. And there'll be badges in the future to come that are going to be more specific and help positive behavior change mentally, spiritually, and physically.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, that's a good idea. I like motivators.
Cool.
And what I like about this concept, Maddie, especially, is because I was more into, when I hear NFT, right? I think about the same thing what Richard has said in the past, because a lot of them, to be honest, they just don't have product market fit, and it's just more like a gamble. But when you have something that can make you a meaningful specific, right? Like the video Gary said about Zig Ziglar, and really have some real fundamental value in the community, into building trust, the same way when you look at stick of that app and you want to see what fish you are, like things like that has real value, because it makes you, a meaningful specific, and it adds to what is it that we're trying to portray and educate and build system towards, like some of the panels we're going to be able to explain today. And to me, that is something worth getting. And the key part is that it's not due to speculation or trying to trade it or whatever. It's just being proud that, wow, I was there. I can look back 15 years from now, I'll still be young, whatever, and be like, wow, I was there. That's my proof. That's my NFT. Obviously you can see the videos and also, but I can look back and say, I did it. I can look back and say, hey, I had a Quattro Cinco from the get-go. I did not play the game. I really saw the long-term value. So to me, that is good, quote, quote, NFT, not just uselessness. Hey, JPEG. And then, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to touch on that real quick, because I think I want people to understand that there is a difference.
Thank you. Yeah. And we actually played with some of the settings and programmed these so that it would be impossible or very hard to resell it. So it's charging like a 50 or 100% commission on selling it, because this is not meant to be something that people pay $5,000, $10,000 for, like a crypto kitty. This is meant to be valuable because you did the work to improve yourself or to improve your community. And so there were options to program it to stop people from misusing it.
And we are learning as we're going too. So as we go on, it'll be more the way that we exactly want it. Once we launch a token, an NFT, it is set in stone for the life of that product. So going forward with the ones that Maddie and I release, and what the community deserves, the ones that they are looking forward to and excited about, we're going to make it so it's 100% resale value goes back to the creators to entirely defer anybody from ever selling them,
Yeah.
because that defeats the purpose. These are like, you know, I'm in a 12-step program, and there's a 12-step program I'm familiar with. I won't name it, but they use these tokens. So during my 1 month of sobriety, I go up and I accept this token because I've earned it. It's a little coin, right? And it's for 30 days sobriety. They have the same for every month up into a year, and then every year, you know, till infinity, right? So that token, that coin, it doesn't mean a thing to me if I didn't earn it. If I wasn't sober for every day for those 30 days and I walked up to grab that coin, it doesn't matter that anybody knows or doesn't know whether or not I was sober. It only matters that I know that I was sober. So I'm not going to fraud myself out of it. I'm not going to go up and accept something I didn't earn. So that's what these are. These are something that they mean something to the participant, from the person that was a part of the era that we just celebrated. And then going forward, you know, we can't wait to incorporate physical, mental, and spiritual health so that we can reward ourselves with good behavior, positive behavior change. And also, if we see what these other badges are that maybe we haven't incorporated, maybe it's something like the Ski Cat Challenge, or, you know, took omega-3 fish oil and benefited from it. Or maybe, like, you know, for me, spirituality is very important. You know, something related to helping others, right? All of these things, they don't mean anything to somebody else if I go to sell it. They just mean something to me because I earned it.
Amen.
Like a Girl Scout badge.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
It's a badge of honor.
It's a badge of honor, Freddie.
And this has been made possible by donations to the conference. These are actually smart contracts that live on the Ethereum blockchain. And so it's, especially when the gas costs are high, like they have been, it's actually pretty expensive to launch these things. And then also we are able to pay like the gas fees in order to transfer the tokens to all 40 people who spoke at the conference, and stuff like that. And so we're very grateful to those who have donated to the conference, and how we can kind of keep growing, because you know the conference was since it was online, it was the costs were very low. And I wanted to say thank you. Somebody donated a lot of hex, 300,000 hex to the conference. Oh, wow. And I'm not sure if that was Ski Cat or if it was somebody else. But we're wanting to find a way also to honor that donation and to use it in a way that supports the community. So.
Silver the antidote. Who was it?
Yeah.
So,
that's awesome.
I'm trying to look into it to thank the person and to learn more about what they have.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say thank you as well, Maddie. You know, to that person that donated, and I wanted to applaud what you're doing already with the donations. I've seen on Twitter that you've already been paying it forward to others. You know, I saw that there was somebody that wanted to someday qualify for a Quattro Cinco stake, and they said that when they were graduated college off in the future, that's when they'd be prepared to set that money aside to do that. And the next thing I knew, you know, 15 minutes later, I'm checking back into Twitter, and you've already sent them 1 T-share. You know, you sent 5,555 hex, which at that time, which was a milestone in hex, out for 15 years, out for the Quattro Cinco, gave us exactly 1 T-share. So not only did you mark that milestone in my mind forever by doing that, but I just wanted to, you know, say thank you, because I noticed what you're doing, and it's not just that one person. It's been over again, and you just got the donation. So I love what you're doing already, Maddie. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. It's you know, in my mind, this is a historic moment. Just yesterday, we've crossed the threshold where if you're staking for 5,555 days, and now it costs 5,556 hex to get 1.000 T-shares, right? So we've crossed the line. It's never going to be cheaper in terms of hex to buy 1 T-share, and so that's
awesome.
a milestone that we can all and so yeah, I'm hoping to do some giveaways here and there, you know, and to show how many hex it takes to give away one T-shirt. That's only goes up. So.
Yes, sir.
So now, Freddie, are you able to discuss what it is about the day one FOMO badge that makes it so special?
Yeah, so I think for me, what makes it so special is that I recognize the opportunity. Like I talked about during the conference, is being able to understand and have a student mentality. So many other, I mean, Bitcoin, Ethereum, so many other coins came into existence, and I didn't recognize them at the time as that type of opportunity. But developing the skills of having an open mind and developing a student mentality, that's really what it represents to me more than anything, because I was able to recognize it. Now, did I make the right decision FOMOing in? No, I don't think so. And Joe had asked me, and I was like, yeah, I did. And I sent him a screenshot of it, and he was like, bruh. And I was like, I know, I'm an idiot, man. Like, so I regret that a little bit, but I'm glad I took the risk, and you have to take risks in life to get anywhere. A calculated risk is the only way to really ever achieve anything worthwhile. Yeah, so to me, it really just comes down to being able to recognize an opportunity and open to risk, and willing to take that leap of faith, really, is what it was. It was a leap of faith into the community.
Absolutely. And yeah, it was impressive how you FOMO'd in, I have to say. I was impressed. So
Yeah.
we did limit one badge. So there's 10,000 of all the badges that we've mentioned, but there are only 369 day one FOMO badges.
Nice.
And that's to represent, you know, there's just going to be 369 of them. So in a similar manner as FOMOing into Hex when it came about, the first people to FOMO into the 369 badges. That's the only you know, semi-inclusive one. Yeah.
Of course.
Well, it's a symbol of unbridled enthusiasm and optimism in some way.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You know, I even put a teeny tiny bit on the first day just to see how it worked.
Nice.
Wow.
Good.
That's awesome.
And for historical purposes, the description that launched with the badge says this hex badge is earned by having experienced the fear of missing out and getting into hex on day one by using the adoption amplifier AA to transform ETH to hex on December 2nd, 2019, 6 p.m. to December 3rd, 2019 at 6 p.m. And overall, the description you'll find on all of them says the Hex badge collection seeks to program mental health into money with a focus on rewarding healthy behaviors within the Hex community.
Awesome.
Oh,
Awesome.
very good.
Great.
Very cool.
That's very cool. Yeah. Wish I was there.
Yeah,
Right.
me too.
I'm
Well,
like, Joe,
there's pluses and minuses to FOMO, and that's something we need to all understand.
Yep.
Yes.
Hey, Maddie, funny joke. Maybe you should come up with a new badge that says, hey, who helped make the top? One of the top.
That's
I'll get a
you.
badge for that one. This will be a reverse FOMO.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
When I decided to get in, it was to say, all right, let's go. The all-in badge.
That's right.
So Freddie, thank you. I appreciate you FOMOing in. Like I said, I'm thoroughly impressed by how hard you FOMOed in, and thank you for sharing about what a memory that day is. As somebody that wasn't around then, I'm envious of that day. You know, I wish that I knew about Hex. I wish that I could have gone in that hard so I could be part of that club. You know, it's an elite club of men and women that were able to buy Hex on day one, and it's something really cool. So thank you for your perspective on that.
Absolutely. No problem.
And Grant, you go ahead. You got something?
No, I'm just going to say thank you for having me on and for the badge of honor.
Absolutely, brother. You earned it, right?
Thank you. Definitely.
We hope you can stick around for the discussion we'll have after after we do all
Absolutely.
the badges.
Of course.
Awesome.
Cool.
Of course.
Yeah, we're just gonna discuss each one with everyone with one person for one badge. So, Grandma, if you would like to take us away on the big payday and tell us a little bit about your perspective on that.
I sort of need to know to say something about the adoption amplifier before I do big payday, but I'll do that real briefly. You know, the adoption amplifier during the launch phase, in a few sentences, a way of distributing the tokens. One was to free claim. If you own Bitcoin, you could obtain some. But the other way was buying it through ETH. Maybe Bitfinex wants to talk about this, the adoption amplifier.
Are we talking about the adoption amplifier now?
Yeah, could you,
Sorry,
Darius?
guys. But
Okay.
yeah. Well, I just cut the last part. Sorry about my signal. You know, look. First of all, I wanted to FOMO in on day one. I don't remember it. I had a long night and then an early morning, and then another long night and another early morning. So I just couldn't get. I couldn't get there. But I did follow Richard Hart's video on setting up the MetaMask. I was one of the people. You know, when he did the walkthrough, I actually did it right alongside him. So there ought to be a badge for that, right? So the adoption amplifier was a wild thing. I racked my brain about it for, you know, the entire year. So I got in on day 2 through the adoption amplifier. I think I put in like a half ETH, and
Nice.
because I thought the project was so good, you know, I was pretty skeptical. Like, who does that? who just fixes everything? So and then I think, Maddie, I think I told you I was a day 4 guy. I got in the adoption amplifier day
I'm a
2,
day 4 guy.
staked on day 4, and then I got in on day 7 and staked on day 9 because of the day rollover. So the whole idea of the adoption amplifier is genius. I love the idea that you get this massive ramp up in inflation for the first year, and then everything is out there, and then the inflation drops down to 3.69% forever. That's beautiful. But throughout the adoption amplifier, the amount of ETH that was put in so you put in ETH, there's a certain amount of HEX that's going to be distributed at the end of that day. If you put in 10% of the ETH, you get 10% of the HEX. Pretty simple. Richard explained it beautifully. I couldn't have come up with that on my own, right? But every day, like on day 1, ton of ETH in there, right? Everyone was waiting for this project to get in. Day 2,
A little less ETH on day 2.
Let me say a little bit about the adoption amplifier. The purpose is to distribute tokens to start the project. Well, it's a product. Your initial coin offering, but it's not, there's no promises, it's all finished. So one of the ways was free claiming. The other way was you can buy it with the ETH. You want to talk more about buying it with the ETH, Bitfinex?
yes. Yeah, sorry guys. So day 2, a lot fewer ETH were in there. And there was this oscillation. The number of ETH that was in the adoption amplifier would go way up, and then it would go way down. So, you know, I think a lot of people who came to Hex are ex-traders, and I know that messed with a lot of people. Like when the number of ETH in the adoption amplifier went down, I was one who was waiting for it to go down even more, and I really screwed myself doing that, just kind of waiting for I don't know what. So I, you know, just kind of chose some days throughout there and did pretty well. But yeah, so you could put your ETH in the adoption amplifier, or you could buy your hex.
Well, what he's saying is that the adoption amplifier essentially was a distribution rapidly over a year instead of over many years, so that we could get to the point that that the supply is fixed with only a 3.69% increase every year.
Absolutely.
And the adoption amplifier, I'm going to help you out a little bit, Bitfinex. The adoption amplifier essentially was taking all the HEX that could not be claimed dividing it by 365 and distributing each little bit every day for the year of the launch period. So there was about 500 million hex distributed every day, but only to people who put in ETH that day. So if people put in only a little bit of ETH, the people, each one would get a whole lot of hex. If there were a whole lot of people putting in ETH, you only got a little bit of hex. So over time, as the product got more popular and people were putting in a lot of ETH, what you got later on in the year was a small amount. So it went from, in January of 2020, the highest amount you could get per ETH was 1.8 million and per ETH. And then it went down eventually to about, I think it was about 12 or 15,000 hex per ETH. So it got less and less that you could buy essentially ETH. It was sort of like a daily auction using 500 million hex each day to distribute. And it amounted to a year of 360 something % inflation. And then suddenly on big payday, it went down to 3.69% inflation each year, which is fixed by the code in the contract. So it was just a means of distributing a whole bunch of hex and doing it by a daily auction.
Yeah, and another thing worth mentioning here that's important is it's actually the best known in crypto distribution mechanism that is the most fair, create sufficient decentralization, and allow everybody to come in and be able to, participate. Again, EOS had a similar launch that was successful. Yes. And that's why Richard took that as an example. And that way, everybody has to come in. Everybody got to put ETH, and then the fair market price will manifest itself from there.
Yeah, and some people who had very little money could get in early and actually could get a whole lot of hex, 1.8 million, hex per ETH.
Okay, stop reminding me.
That's pretty good.
That day one, I think I got like 45 per ETH or something like that. Let me pull it up.
45,000, yeah. But that's not bad. That's not bad because
it's not 1.8 million.
As the year went by, the price went up.
Yes.
So the 45,000 became more valuable over time.
Absolutely.
So that doesn't hurt.
Yeah, Freddie, if it helps you, when I get in already, it was just like already less than 100K. So first day. But the thing is, again, that's why if you understand the value also long term, you put in more capital and then you start compounding. You don't lose your freaking hex. You don't become a meme video. Why did I sell my hex? Because then compared to those people, they're gone and they had to come back and buy back higher.
The T-shares then too. The T-shares were significantly higher than what they are now. And what I staked in the T-shares that I got then, it's nowhere near what it is now.
So it gave people who didn't have much money an opportunity to get in early and before it went up 100x. And that really was good to be able to get in early using just very few dollars.
Yeah, especially Ethereum was also lower too. So, and I think Grandma, that's a great transition also to then talk about big payday and then the value of that kind of T-share.
Well, the big payday amounted to about a third of the hex that was going to be distributed over the year was given all at once on the very last day of the year-long launch. Now, big payday is distributed. It's not really an airdrop because you are minting the coins yourself, but you can sort of loosely call it an airdrop. And it was more of a carrot by the designers of Hex to attract users of Hex. And so there were great big expectations that people would get 2-3 times as much Hex as they put in terms of getting it from the ETH. But what happened is on the big payday, a huge whale came in and bought and staked all I'd say a third to half of the hex all at once, but just for a few days. So that diluted the amount of hex that you got on big payday. Because if you're going to distribute this, I don't know how many million,
Billions.
how many billion, what was it, 20, 30, 50, I forget how many billion it was distributed, but it was divided among all the stakers proportionally to how many T-shares you had. And so if you had very short stakes of only a year, you may have only increased your stack by 50% or 30%. However, if you had most of your stakes at 15 years, you may have increased your stack, by 2 or 3x.
Mm-hmm.
But people were expecting that even with short stakes, they'd double or triple their stack, which didn't happen because all of a sudden a whole bunch of hex was staked. And so that diluted the amount that the stakers received on big payday. But it was still an enormous free amount of money, essentially. So no one can complain about it. But I think all these people with the mindset of trading and getting in and getting out quick in a couple of days and just grabbing this airdrop, oh my, this airdrop, let's run in quick and get it and then sell it. Well, they were bitterly disappointed because they didn't understand the purpose of hex. They didn't read anything about hex. So they didn't realize that in order to get a large amount on big payday, you had to be staked for a long time, because stakes are the amount of T-shares you have is proportional to how long you stake. So the T-shares are calculated. I don't know if everybody understands that when you stake, your hex is burned and you're given shares. They're not stocks. They're just a way of being able to calculate what your bonuses are going to be, like the big payday bonus. And so if you got in very early and you staked very long, you had more shares than other people. So you got a bigger proportion of big payday. And so the people who came in with the trading mentality and let's quick grab an airdrop and run and cash it out, they didn't make a whole lot. They made
some. It was a learning opportunity for them, right?
It was a learning opportunity. And there was a lot of bitching about it. Oh, no, we didn't get as much as we thought we would because this whale came in and staked. And so it went from, I don't know how much it was, 20% staked to 90% staked in just one day, Mm-hmm. And so they got a smaller proportion than they thought they would, but they still got something. So they can't complain, but it may have been educational for them if they bothered to, instead of just being disappointed, if they bothered to go back and learn about it and read about it, then they would understand why they didn't get as much as they thought on big payday.
No,
who would have had coins and not staked it?
So that's what big payday was. It was a bonus. And some people called it an airdrop, but it really just was a bonus for people who participated in HEX during the first year of the launch. They got a bonus. That was big payday. If you staked in the first year, you were eligible for the bonus.
Absolutely. And again, another thing really worth mentioning is that even if you stake for like a few days or even one day, the minimum reward was 30%. I don't know a lot of crypto out there when you can just show up, grab something, stake for literally a day and get 30% more of the thing. You know what I mean? So that
absolutely. So bitching about that you didn't get double or triple your stack, I think is pretty low.
And like Grandma said, they didn't read, because from the get-go it clearly says that it's a moving target, that it depends on how many are staked during that day. And they were also creating a defense mechanism, because ultimately if you stake long enough and you understand the value of X, big payday doesn't really matter in terms of, it's not the end, it's just the beginning. I firmly believe that even the crazy numbers that I saw on my early big, because I'm like, my average stakes length is like 13 years, so at some point he was showing me like 6x. It was just great. It was just amazing. Now, I only end up having 2x, right? 2x. But I firmly believe that I will get the rest, because again, if you understand what you're doing at the moment you're staking to get that visualization of, let's say I'm going to get 5, 6x, by definition, you committed to the truth engine that you're going to be staked for that long, which is, again, 13 plus years. So by then, it gives plenty of time for the truth engine to pile up all those hex that you saw. And 13 years from now, I am very convinced I will see my 6x just ready, waiting for me. Because whether I get it, and I talked about it a lot, whether I get it on big payday or 13 years from now, it doesn't matter, because I'm not end staking. I'm not burning myself. And I will have to wait for my stake to mature. It's the same thing when somebody's complaining about what the price is today, when in reality, you're still and until years from now. That's the price you need to worry about years from now. And crypto is going to be way better than what it is today.
Well, the other important thing about, there are two things about big payday you got to remember. The whale did a big service, because you don't want to overly reward these people with the trading mentality that jump in and out in one day.
So they wrecked the price for us now.
Right. So they got a little bit of a slap on the wrist. But the other thing people need to know about big payday is it was just a little carrot compared to how much you will gain if you stake for 15 years. It's a drop in the bucket, because a 15-year stake, if you include price increase, you may end up 200, 300, 500 times your stack. So, and the big payday, even if there wasn't a whole lot of staking, would have only been 5 or 6 times your stack. So it's really just a drop in the bucket compared to what the price increase and what the long stakes will provide you in a growth of your wealth.
Absolutely. That's why we call it LPB. Longer pays better. Freddie, I might get a tattoo that says LPB.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
With like the most important thing. So, and maybe Maddie, I can talk about the staking now, or unless somebody.
Perfect.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, and I think it's a perfect transition because it ties into everything Grandma's been saying, and Bitfinesse as well, and understanding the value of the 555. So there's a couple of things here. First, in terms of the mindset and the psychology. Like I said many times, and I'll say it again. To me, the true value of Hex isn't making just money. It's about building wealth. And the first rule about building wealth is to delay instant gratification, right? We have talked about it many times. Maddie's talked about it many times, the marshmallow experience, understanding the long-term value and monetizing time, because that's what a CD does. That's what those things are about. So when you fully have that level 3 understanding, you're not just going for the 10-year stake, you're going for the 15-year stake, because you're trying to preserve that T-share value for an additional 5 years, which compounded over time is going to be dwarfing any 10-year stakes out there. Especially if you also add what the inflation is going to be 5 years after that of a bigger number. Because as I explained many times, the day payout only rise over time. So you can just imagine what it's going to be from year 10 to year 15, and you don't want to miss on that. So you want to build on your wealth, which means you don't touch the money, and which means sometimes your worst enemy is yourself, right? It's like working at any big corporation. You got offered free shares, you sold it, and then 10 years later, the company did 100x, and you were part of the beginning, but you just sold it too early. So it's delay instant gratification, securing your T-shares in the HEX system. It's getting bonus T-shares. Let's not forget, right? Longer pays better. So you get those extra T-shares up to 200%. So you're locking that in as well. And number 4, you get a bigger portion of the big payday, because like Grandma said, it's proportion. So if you have a lot more shares plus the bonus included, that's how you can play catch up. That's how, even if you're not a day one person, so to speak, you can really catch up in terms of generating wealth for yourself, because you're leveraging the most valuable bonus, in my opinion, which is, again, the longer pays better, which tied to the bonus, and understanding that the 555, ideally, it's almost money that you grow for your wealth and that you almost hope never to have to use. In other words, it's just part of building the net worth, and it's part of like saving for the rainy day, but also in the future, right? Capitalism, ready to deploy that capital when need be to build your dreams. That's what I call it, the dream account, right? The things that everybody on this panel has talked about, the wonderful things we want to do and helping people and, you know, further civilization, all this other stuff. This is the stash that can end up creating those dreams for you from the beginning, when you had just, you know, created and set it aside, your nest egg, so to speak, and then just watch it grow and monetizing time, which doesn't stop for anybody. You know, today, 7 p.m., everybody on this panel, that steak, right? We all got paid like clockwork. So again, and tomorrow is going to be the same thing, all the way to, you know, the next aeon. So that's why it's very, very fundamental that everybody understand the value of a 5555 stake. And Maddie's donation is a perfect example that you have no excuse. I don't care if it's a 1 T share or if it's as many as you can handle, but you can have a 555 stakes. That does not mean every single token needs to be staked 555, but at least you can create that wealth by money that you know you don't need right now, that you don't want to be just blowing it away, and that you want to have that right mentality of building wealth versus just making money.
Yeah.
Can I add two things to that?
I think that I can add something to what Kareem says. If you don't understand shares, just think of shares as your economic weight, your economic strength, how strong you are. Because if you have a lot of economic strength in Hext, and every year that you stake, you can almost look at the beginning of your stake as the basis, like when the basis of your taxes, how much you're going to be taxed on. The economic energy is increased by 20% per year you stake at the beginning of your stake. So if you stake for a long time, your economic energy can be 3 times as much as everybody else. And then you use that economic energy to calculate how much interest you get each day. And the interest, you have more economic energy if fewer people stake, because then you get a bigger amount of the economic energy from this inflation every year. You get a bigger amount of the economic energy from people who have early and late end stakes and lose their money to the stakers. You get a bigger amount of the big payday. So you have this economic energy that's just eating up all these bonuses, from the penalties to the interest to the big payday. And that's not even including price increase. And you add the price increase on top of that. That's where the big gains come in, when you have all this economic energy that you've built up like a mountain.
Whew. And at the end, you get the economic enthusiasm of grandma too.
That's right. That's right.
You don't have to, if you don't understand shares, you can look at it that way.
Yes.
Something important to remember with the 5555 too is the restaking of your ladder. So then you can continue that economic energy. So I have a staking ladder out once a month for 15 years, 5555, and every time it ends, I restake it for 15 years. So when the 15 years is up, every single stake 15 years from, or 14 years from now, every single stake, or no, I guess after big payday. So yeah, after 15 years from right now, every single stake that I ends will be a 15-year stake. So I will just have perpetual huge returns on every single stake, every single month, forever. And I don't plan on cashing, that out. I mean, who knows what's going to happen, but restaking it. So then at that point, if you can continue that ladder after 15 years, that you're going to see even more massive gains, because then it's every week that you're getting those out, not just 15 years from now.
Absolutely. We call it the 5555 staking ladder. You know what I mean? I have something similar, which I've shown on the Dream account. Mine is every 6 months. But yeah, it's the same. It's whatever your method is be able to roll over maximum shares as much as you can. and only basically needing the money if there's an emergency or something like that. But you're just riding the wave and catching on what the future valuation is going to be. So
you're getting paid for making your own retirement account. You're
it.
getting big benefits for delayed gratification. You're getting paid for time. So if you can have the patience and honor your commitments on your stakes and not early end state, that's what you're being paid for. And I think that's a valuable lesson to learn.
Absolutely. Yeah, Maddie, that's my favorite badge.
Awesome.
Smash the like
There's a
button,
lot of
everybody.
people. There's a lot of people out there who probably feel like they missed a boat. Oh, I wasn't here during the adoption amplifier. I can't get into Hex. Look, to you folks, right? To you no coiners, look, we all messed up. I had Bitcoin that I could have sold or could have wrapped and swapped it for Hex during the adoption amplifier. I feel so dumb that I didn't do that. We've all messed up. But when you lock up your Hex, you get T-shares in return, okay? And it costs a certain amount of Hex for T-share. Right now it costs around 16,000 Hex to get one T-share, okay? Now, you're creating that T-share, okay? So there's a certain amount of T-shares in the system. The smart contract obviously knows how many T-shares are in the system. So the inflation that's paid out every year, the 3.69%, is divided amongst the T-shares, okay? So for every T-share you get, you receive a certain amount of Hex. I think right now it's about 5 point something Hex per every T-share you have. Now, as time moves forward and younger stakes mature, when people end their stakes, they burn their T-shares. That means that inflation of 3.69% gets distributed to fewer T-shares. That's why the number of Hex you receive per T-share goes up. This is why I live out of my tanker, and this is why I have 2 10-year stakes, and the rest of my stakes are all 15 years. Look, everyone needs to do what they need to do, right? But I can't, like, I'm young, I'm a baby. I can't do tier 1 laddering. I can't do it. All my stakes need to be for 15 years to hold on to the amount of T-shares that I have for the price of Hex that I got those T-shares for. I want to hang on to that many T-shares for as long as possible. Now in 15 years, maybe I'll start laddering, have some come out every year, every few years or whatever. But hanging on to the maximum amount of T-shares that your Hex bought when you started your first stake, the longer you hang on to those T-shares, the better off you're going to be. Because like I said, as stakes mature and T-shares get taken out of the system, as they get burned, the amount of Hex every one of your T-share earns will go up over time. I mean, it's a brilliant system.
Keyword, over time. Look at you, Bitfinesse. You're learning. I like that. Very impressed.
Getting it, baby.
He's hot tonight.
There you go. That's awesome. Another point to add to that is that economic energy after 15 years is so good that, let's say, although another strategy, even if you were to do a shorter stake, so to speak, 15 years from now, as long as you do big amount, like I plan on doing like 150 million stakes or whatever, you can get that 10% bonus too. And like Grandma said, you actually just creating that retirement for you, leave off the interest, restake the principal. So, but yeah.
And also, look, I have to say this because I think everyone is kind of dodging this idea, and it's ridiculous. Look, as time moves forward, places where people feel comfortable putting their money, like, it's going to become more obvious to the world we live in that this is the place to put your money because you can control it. You actually retain your private keys. You get a killer yield on it, and no one can touch it. So the world is dumb, right? It is. It's dumb, and it's going to take time. So the difference between now and 5 years, and 5 years and 10 years, it's going to be a massive difference. This thing's going to snowball. Hex, eventually is going to suck in the entire financial system, the entire world banking system. I mean, what, do we think that banks aren't going to be putting their money in Hex? Do we think 401ks aren't all going to be rolled into Hex one day? The question is, are you going to be staked when that happens? And it's going to be a gradual progression. But this is why I'm thinking after a 15-year stake ends, I'm going to stake it for another 15 years because this Hex is the most honest thing in finance. So in my mind, it's the only thing in finance that's worth. I mean, what are you going to do? Put your money in the 401k? Are you really going to put your money in the S&P 500 knowing that the Fed's been pumping money into it for years and now they're having trouble keeping it pumped up to all-time highs? Where else are you going to put your money? Everyone's going to see this over time. It's not going to happen overnight, but everyone who has some Hex and they've staked it, who sees how this system works, everyone who puts the time in to eventually recognize what a T-share is, it becomes a no-brainer to them that this is where it's at. It's a matter of time before more and more people, more and more institutions realize this. So you don't want to come in and stake for a year and bounce. I'm hearing a lot of Hexicans who did 1-year stakes or 1.5-year stakes, and now I hear them. They're saying, and I love you guys, but I hear you saying, man, I should have staked longer. I'm just going to roll that over and get fewer T-shares now than I could have had when I started that stake. Now, should everyone do only 15-year stakes? Probably not. You know, everyone's got different needs. But think about this stuff. I mean, it's as simple as you want to make it. It's as complicated as you want to make it.
Bitfinex, did you see the article that came out today in a British money magazine? We're mainstream. They declared that Hex was the highest growth asset in 2020.
And that's the truth.
I think it's called Money or something, some kind of mainstream big magazine.
It was an article about Ethereum and how it was gaining or having more growth than Bitcoin was. And it said about how you can build smart contracts on top of it. And then it listed Hex as the highest gaining asset built on top of the Ethereum network in this article. It was pretty cool.
Oh, fantastic.
They can literally one of the highest for transactions, right? You know, because we pay a lot of fees, the highest appreciation assets in 2020, right? And then you can see us on Etherscan. So even the little scam that CoinMarketCap's trying to do by not listing us, you know, that's opportunity because people that really look at the blockchain directly, they're going to know what's going on because they can see the ETH going in and out and what's actually happening. So
yeah, and they said we were top 10 in nomics, you know, and so this is mainstream. We made it. We got this big without mainstream. Now we have mainstream. Oh,
yeah.
I love grammar. That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
And you know, I'm hearing, I've heard people say T-share a lot, right? And if you're a high net worth individual out there, then you should be thinking how rare P shares are, because a peta share is 1,000 T shares, and there's only 10,000 of them that exist right now, and they will become more and more rare. So.
Absolutely.
The price of a T-shirt will be the highest price asset in the world one day.
Mm-hmm.
Stick around and see it, guys. Eat your vegetables. Guys, stick around and see it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great.
Huddle Dog said he's anticipating a $25,000 T-share by the end of the year.
That's a good point.
Oh, yeah.
Because
that's insane.
Yeah. Because think about it. If
by
we
the end of this year.
Yeah, if we trend right now towards the end of the year based on what's supposed to come out, we could be anywhere, like I said before, between 18,000 to 20,000 hex per T-shirt by then. So if you're right around that sweet spot, and then just basic math, right? We get a simple trending towards the $1, right?
Yeah.
You just do the math, and
so every so $1 is 100x.
Yeah, if Ethereum does what I predict it could do, $5,000 to $6,000 Ethereum, because I've been watching a lot the Bitcoin Ethereum pair. Like, people don't understand Ethereum doesn't need Bitcoin to go up further than what it is now. Like 40,000 was my sweet spot. Anything more than that is just gravy. It just needs to go from being, what is it right now? It's like roughly 3% of a Bitcoin. And if you just go from 3 to 6%, that's a double. That's a $2,300, $2,400 Ethereum. And 2017, previous bull market, just to give reference, I think it went as high as like 11%, 11 to 15% off of Bitcoin during the crazy altcoin rally. So just from 3 to 15, that's 5x.
Yeah.
So without any more Bitcoin crazy appreciation, just what it is today, if it goes back to that ratio, that's a $6,000 Ethereum right there. And then, you get your 50 cents Hex,
Well, right now, Hex is what, a penny? And a T-share is what, $163? Is that right?
No, it's $300 now. $200 or $300.
It depends if it's a 1 day stake or a Quattro Cinco stake.
So the HEXstats has it, whatever HEXstats has it as. Let me just check that real quick.
No, but it's like $60 if you're doing a 15-year T-share.
Okay.
Versus if you're doing one for like tomorrow, then it's what? Yeah. Like
the reason why it's because it's about a penny, but it's not a penny. It's like 0.11 right now, so it's 10% more. So we're just under. Let's just put it this way to round it up. We're about under $200 roughly. But again,
175.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
If we do 175, and so we're at a penny, right? Or let's just say we're right at a penny. So if we do roughly 100x from here at 175, that's $17,500 for a T-share.
Exactly.
If we go to $1, 100x from right here, the cost of a T-share is $17,500.
I think $1 is achievable within 2 years.
It is. Yeah. It definitely is. And again, it's just if they keep breaking news today. What I posted on the Hex Pro chat. There's 2 news. Number one, the Treasury crazy proposal from Mnuchin got kicked out about trying to censor and monitor like personal wallets, aka MetaMask type wallets. That got pushed back. So that's bullish for DeFi. And then number 2, which was to be expected. I mean, they passed the new stimulus thing, so people are going to get $2,000 instead of $600. So they're going to get another $1,400, and they're talking about another $1.5 trillion on top of the $2 trillion they just did for like economic relief, whatever, aka pump the economy and move stuff up. So the more they print, we all know how Banana Republic goes. It's like it just keeps going in the trillions. Trillions look like billions now, and every 6 months you're gonna hear another print this and print that. So when that happens, it's just gonna push the price even faster.
Freddie, can I ask you a quick question to clarify? Did you say that Hodl Dog said that one T-share would be $25,000 or 25,000 Hex?
$25,000. It's just a guess. He was just estimating. He was saying,
I like that guess.
He said, I predict that we'll see by the end of the year. Well, he said by the end of this year, $25,000 for one T-share.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of time because of the number of Hex it takes to buy a T-share will always go up forever. The system does that to make sure that a shorter staker can never get a higher ROI than a longer staker.
Yeah.
So that means in the future, no matter how many Hex it takes to get a T-share, for you new guys out there who still are not in this thing, you're crazy. But there's still going to be opportunity for you in the future because no one is going to be able to buy more T-shares for the same amount of Hex. It goes up forever.
Unless they stake longer. And
unless they stake longer.
Because right now the cost of a T-share is 16,000 Hex if you want to only stake for a few days, but it's only 5,000 Hex if you want to get a T-share that's locked for 15.2 years.
Yeah, it's about 16.6, which is important because it's trending towards 17,000. And what's important also to realize, and I said on the Crypto Spot, is really understand the behavioral psychology behind what people do. Like as the price start to shoot up, because let's just say for this premise to happen, we need about 100x, which is when Hex goes to close to $1. When that happens, it's going to be the easiest math you ever do for the share rate. You're not going to look at Hex per Hex. The per Hex is a 1. So you just move that out of the way. It's whatever you see on the screen. That's the thing. So if you see 17,000, 18,000, 19,000, that is the thing. Because at $1, it's an easy math. Now, as we have already seen and witnessed, as the price pumps, the foam motard sometimes just emergency end state for whatever reason. And when that happens, it ratchets the t-shirt even faster. This is how, if we do a simple linear progression, a 25,000 hex per t-shirt sounds like it's not really possible in a year or two. But if the price pump like crazy and people see crazy amount in the account and emergency end state, they're going to bring the future to the present. You're going to see 5-year, 7-year, 8-year stakes start to unstake because all of a sudden the account is worth 100 times more. And they're like, wait a minute, I didn't expect to make this money until 3 years from now. And it's right now in front of me. So they're going to just, let me grab it.
Exponential.
And when that happens, it ratchets up the price. So that's the funniest thing.
Ratchets.
And the badge
Ratchets
that,
up the price.
Does anyone think we could see $1 in the next 2 months?
No, I think we're going to see $1.
All I
I think
said
we're
is
going to see $1 in mid
that'd be crazy.
2022.
That'd be
I
crazy.
mean, if you look at the charts they're putting out, though, because of the DEX, because of Uniswap, it's only going to take 5,400 ETH
Oh, you're absolutely right.
to $1.
yeah.
Like that can happen tomorrow.
It's highly
You
probable.
could
Freddie.
definitely-
Yeah, it
I
can
don't
happen
think
now.
I think it's going to take about 12 to 18 months from now.
Mhm.
I'd like to make a wager that we see $1 hex way before that.
Look at it this way. If you're talking about a wick, I say it's possible. If you talk about stability, which
Yeah.
I think what we're talking about, it's going to take a little bit longer. And actually, it's a good thing. You want something
Yeah.
stable. If not,
You want stable,
you're going to create a bear market. I'm telling you right now. Because
understand.
the trader is going to jump on that. That's what some of them, that's what they're waiting for, to be
It's
honest.
like Richard's random line, right? He keeps posting that tweet. The random line. It has us at $1 around July. And when I'm doing, and I'm not a pro at technical analysis or chart
Mhm.
analysis, but when I just do simple Elliott wave,
Mhm.
we just finished up the first wave after big payday. We're just ABCing from our fifth wave, our wave number 5. And when you zoom out on the chart and you look at where we are headed, it has us on the Elliott wave at about $1 in
Yeah.
July.
like
It's
a horn, right?
insane.
Like a horn that
I
points towards it.
Yeah,
But,
I was telling my friends in our group chat, I was like, the foundation that we built, because everyone keeps saying the chart looks amazing, and I'm so glad that I spent time over the last 4 years learning how to read the charts and watching people do all this chart analysis and all this stuff. So I understand what they're talking about now. What we just built a 10 square block foundation for a building to be put on. And people don't see that. People don't understand that. The first wave that we just finished it's setting up for an astronomical raise. And with the liquidity and all these charts coming out and the small amount of volume that you need to push the price, I mean, there's whales right now that hold Hex that have 60, 70, 80 million dollars in ETH just sitting in their wallet. Right? They've got their Hex and then they've got 80 million ETH just chilling.
They're waiting to buy it at a higher price.
it looks like this
They prefer
when
buying Hex.
Right. So if they take, 4,500 ETH, which is less than,
Yes.
5% of their stack, and make one order, that pushes us to $1.
Look at that picture by Eddie's head, right? You see how the up and to the right goes? It does the small and then it magnifies. And then
Right.
it magnifies.
Yeah.
That's
I've never
crazy.
seen so many higher lows.
I know.
I think we
I know.
need to be careful. I mean, we don't want to exceed, we want to exceed our expectations, not be disappointed by our expectations.
Well, there are no expectations, right?
Well, how
It's
about
just-
this?
No,
How about
but I
this?
think
For-
if you do regression analysis and whatever, I think you want to look at what is the base, not what the peaks are.
Yeah. Well, like Bitfinestra said, I've never seen more higher lows ever.
Mhm.
It just keeps going
Ever.
up, and then another
Dude.
higher low, and then another higher low. And that's the thing,
Yeah.
though. So I keep saying when we hit $1, that's when we see FOMO. That's when we see everyone else who's doubted, everyone who's called it a scam. I think $1 is when everyone jumps in. So if we have an instant jump to that point, yes, there will be a retracement. People are gonna, sell, get their Lambos, whatever. But at that, when it hits $1, that's when people are like, "Oh snap! It's $1. Maybe all these other people were lying. What's happening here?" I mean, look at BitFit or BitConnect or whatever. What did that get to? That got to like $250 something, even higher, and it was super cheap at once. But people saw the price go up, and they were like, "Oh, I need to get in on this," even though it was blatantly a scam. So who's to say we couldn't see one buy order, push it to $1, and then see massive people come in? Grandma, you were saying it earlier, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we're mainstream. We're mainstream. We're not mainstream yet. When we hit $1 and everyone in the mother FOMOs in and pushes us to $50, that's when we'll be mainstream.
Well, I think we're going to be
Look,
50 cents by the end of the year, but I think, you know, the average regression analysis will show probably that we won't reach $1 till, you know, the first or second quarter next, you know, in
I
2020.
can't give
I'm
anybody a
guessing
time
$1
frame,
by July. Mm-hmm.
but those people out there, I know who you are, people who think that Hex will never see $10,000. Let me tell you, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. These people who think, oh, there's too many coins, it can't go to 10,000. You, Hex is gonna rip people's faces off. Now, I don't, you know, it's like, when is everyone gonna walk outside and look up and see that the sky is blue? It could happen right now. It could happen while it's dark outside. It doesn't even have to be during the day. Like,
Yeah.
it could happen at any time. It's insane.
You could wake up tomorrow and Hex could be $1.
Yeah.
Well, I think it easily could be $100 in 5 years.
Mhm.
Definitely. My best answer to all that is that once you really understand everything we've already talked about, and especially the power of the T-shirts, I'm like,
Yep.
It's gonna happen within our first 15-year stay, because that's by the time you can actually take the money out. And more importantly, the journey towards that is gonna be so amazing, and seeing all the change and like Business says, see the doubters, which we're gonna probably convert also into believers. There's gonna be a lot of that going on too. It just brings back that mentality of don't squander your opportunity. Please
Yep.
hear me out loud and clear. I love the fact this thing is recorded so you can watch it and rewatch it even years from now, so you understand how valuable a T-shirt actually is. Because when all those future valuation happens and you realize how cheap it was to get one, you realize the analogy of, oh, it's like buying Bitcoin when Bitcoin had its first 100x move from, you know, penny to, I don't know, $10 or $1. And then you get so much more to go. So don't squander that. Don't overtrade. Don't blow up your account. We're talking about, you know, charts here, but we're just looking at it for fun. We're not trading. I think that's very important to remind people. It's just understanding the value of a T-shirt and build your wealth. Build your wealth.
It's actually deflationary.
Perfect time.
I just can't wait till the middle of next year. People are saying, where did that come from? Why is it number 3 market cap? I don't understand. You know?
I don't think it's going to take that long.
No, exactly. Guys, do you know that if
It's not going to take a year and a half. This is much sooner than we all anticipate. Nate J said in the chat, 1-inch buy or the 1-inch limit buys are killing the sell pressure. So with these DEXs, it gives us the opportunity to see what it is and what we need to do to get to the next level. And there are whales in Hex right now that could get us to that level in one buy and not even think twice about it, and have 30x more of that stack in their stack and ETH, not counting Hex or any of their other tokens, and not think twice. I think people, and it's good to be conservative. You don't want to set expectations too high. But I think that we could see a massive moonshot overnight, and no one's going to expect it, and it could literally happen overnight.
I can't wait to see the mainstream press and what they start saying.
Oh my God!
I mean, this is going to be very entertaining.
Richard Hart's going to be on like MSNBC and like Money Talk or whatever that, or what's the one where it's got like the tickers going across the bottom? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Bloomberg. Richard Hart's
Terminal. I mean, you made it to Bloomberg, you made it. I mean, literally, this is literally financial.
So for those of us who have been in early, and you know, what is the true victory? Well, there will be many. One, which I can relate back to the badges, is when the Bitcoin free claim, you got 10,000 hex per Bitcoin for free, right? When that becomes more valuable than a Bitcoin, I think is going to be a lot of bragging rights.
Oh my goodness, right? That's going to be a Twitter post. Listen, it's like, who gives you a value of Bitcoin for free? At $1, it's like you got 10 grand, right? At $10, you got 100 grand.
Well, it doesn't hurt to dream, and I think the dreams will come true in my lifetime.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and the thing too was when it launched last year, one Bitcoin last December 2nd was what, 7,000, 7,200 maybe?
Yeah, I
So
remember
when Hex
it
hits a
went below.
dollar, when Hex hits a dollar, it'll be worth more than what Bitcoin was at the time when you could have free claimed that Hex.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Say that
Not even
again,
at
Freddie.
70 cents. So when Hex hit 70 cents or 75 cents, whatever it was, the amount of Hex that you could get for free claiming per Bitcoin was 10,000, right? So if Bitcoin at the time of the free claim was 7,500, let's say, when you have 76-cent Hex, right? Am I doing my math right?
Yeah, you're doing it
10,000.
right.
Yeah, yeah,
I just for
exactly.
emphasis, I'd love to hear you say it
10,000.
again because that's hard to believe, and you're right.
Mhm.
Yep. So when Hex hits 76 cents, it will be worth more than that one Bitcoin was when you could have free claimed your 10K Hex.
Oof.
Yep.
That's right.
Because it's a 10,000x move. Again, it just
Yep.
and people underestimate how high this can go. And it goes back to the other tweet that I said a couple of days ago about like the some of the liquidity being removed. People don't understand that the most important thing is that there's Hex just got become scarcer or harder, 4 times harder because there is less to go around. Like to some crazy extent, when it used to be 400 million plus, there was still a bunch. Because remember how the automated market maker moves is that every time you put in and it takes away, it's square. So you can never drain the whole thing, but it becomes double expensive as it hits half, right?
Yep.
So when you were like 400 million on the, you see the liquidity thing, and then by the time it goes to that 200 million, it costs literally 4 times more. So it's just like now we just cost 4 times more just by removing it. And then when you look at it, it's literally there's only 73 million in there. And at any time, it could just be even shorter and shorter and shorter. So, and some of the OG, and again, I'm not an OG, but I can speak for myself as being in the Super Shark, is that we're not done buying. Because again, if you truly understand Hex level 3 understanding and you understand the long-term value, you constantly just accumulate. I'm not going to stop working. I'm not going to stop, making money, all that kind of stuff, because I understand delayed gratification. And where do you think I'm going to put my money when I know my stash is going up? And I can care less about market cycles because I'm staking for T-shares, which means when the up and down happens, it doesn't really matter because you're still building. You see, Bitcoin doesn't have that. Bitcoin, you really do sometimes have to worry about when is your entry point, because if you buy at the top of the market and then things goes down while you're holding, you're not making any free Bitcoin. You're not getting any extra. In Hex, even when whether the price goes up or down, you're still getting paid every day. And that's so underrated how powerful that is. Oh, nice.
And we're just doing the walkthrough of how to get one of these badges to have the bragging rights for if you do a Bitcoin claim or you attended the first Hex conference or you do a 5-5-5-5 Quattro Cinco stake.
Nice. Oh, Maddie, let me send you my wow, I forgot.
Yes, absolutely.
My
We
apologies.
can get you the speaker badge.
I got caught up into
people can see and replay. This is how they look if you have MetaMask mobile, and it'll show up in different ways if you're on desktop. But
can you show
them all in your MetaMask? You can see the different badges you've collected that you own on your address wallet, and then you can go into each one and see what it looks like all there under your collectibles tab in.
How do you view it on desktop? Can you show us?
So it's just by going to the website. I can pull it up here, the app.rarible.com, and connecting your wallet with a read-only. And,
sounds good.
Yeah, you're going to want to remember that you were here. I mean, I assume everyone is taking screenshots of the Staker app and saving it in a folder so they can go back and see, like, wait a second, how much Hex did I have and how much do I have now? So I love the badge. It just reminds you of like how far you've come, the things you've done since you've been in Hex. Hex is such a huge deal. People are going to want to remember what they did here because we're going to be here for a long time. This is great.
Amen.
Yeah. This video 5-10 years from now could have hundreds of thousands of views.
Easy. Millions.
Hundreds of thousands of views. Yeah.
Well, I hope so.
I mean, if you just look at the impression that Maddie posted literally earlier, and then you look at just how the community grow, like people forget, but I, for example, because I watch a lot of podcasts and YouTube channels and about, from entrepreneurship, like PBD. I remember when he started, Patrick Bet-David, and then whether it is something like review of cell phone or tech stuff or whatever, a lot of the time when they talk about their beginning and how they grow, and they don't remember, so to speak, not to look bad when they reach, millions of subscribers or even hundreds of thousands of subscribers, 50,000, but they remember, I promise you, when they did 100 subscribers,
Yep.
50, 200. Do you hear crazy story how like it took them 2 years, 3 years just to get their first 200 subscriber, 100, 200 subscribers. And then from there, obviously the frequency got lower and lower because exponential growth. But like I'm amazed about how fast that community grows. Like, even me at first, because I'm not really a big social media type person. I'm more like, just get shit done. But then like I started using the Twitter a little bit more, and like kudos to the community. And like in the matter of like weeks, like 500 plus. And then it's like, whoa, like Maddie's channel on YouTube is getting close to 1,000. So people don't understand that that's a powerful growth, because normal channel would take years to get a quarter of the subscriber. So, and this is also a kudos to Richard and the work that he has done, which was very smart, which is, starting to add value, build the community, all this other stuff. Again, a finished product for a finished type community, people that really understand why they're here for. And no wonder why you get, FOMO people coming in day one, because we got so much value coming in. It's just like, dude, whatever, man. What's the price? Who cares? I need to get some. Let me just throw. So it's just, and it goes to show how powerful and how valuable, like building those type of things and understanding that it looks like it's small, but if you put into perspective, we're actually growing very, very fast. And like Gary Vee would say, king of social media, is you jab, 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 right? Hook, right? So keep adding value, and then explosion, impulse from there.
Well, one other thing people don't realize is that Hex is like Bitcoin in that there is a limited supply, because a 3.69% inflation rate per year, and it doesn't even reach that because people haven't end staked yet, is really very tiny. So the limited supply will really push the price up. And then as more people stake, that takes more supply out, pushes the price up more. So stakers provide a certain amount of stability to the product and also push the price up.
Absolutely. And another cool thing is, Maddie, I don't know if you can pull up go.hex.com real quick, is actually you can track roughly what it looks like on a day-to-day, because it tells you, because your inflation is technically what the rewards are from the daily payout, whether it is coming from people emergency end stake or the regular pay. And if you can scroll down, please, it tells you on the day, it's like 0.001%, percentage gains. When you scroll down to the table below, like this is kind of roughly mathematically what the inflation looks like on the percentage gains. That's what it looks like on the day. So it's very, very small, like Grandma says, very, very, very small. So at any time when more economic math comes in, especially when, Ethereum also becomes more and more valuable, and Bitcoins too, and newcomers come in and want to park their economic mass. Because if there's one big lesson I learned in April when the big whale came in, is that because of Uniswap and the beauty, you can literally create a new bottom. He came in 10,000 ETH by order, and then the price never retraced it to that price level, for a very long time. So imagine now with low liquidity, with most people stakes, understanding the value, some new people come in, it's going to just create more floor. And then there you have it, baby, up and to the right, and then up to the right. And that's what it does.
Well, we want to thank everybody for coming on and talking tonight, because it's been a blast and people have been learning so much from all of you on this stream and other streams. Thank you so much. I know we've got some other people in the Hex community who are doing their stream now, and so we'll send everybody over there. But I wanted to just thank you all again. and look forward to hopefully having you back again on the show.
Yeah, it's been awesome, everyone. Thank you so much,
I
Freddie,
think this
Grandma,
has been
Green, Tiffany.
a really marvelous discussion. You know, the cat's pajamas tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you, Grandma.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having
so
me.
much, everybody.
Fun. You guys are so much fun. Grandma's
Well,
very, very entertained, and I feel young again. You
There
know.
you go. See, guys, we're winning. See, adoption, man. If we get more grandma, it's just even better, man. And more adoptions. So that's awesome. That's awesome.
Let's do it again soon, everybody. That would be great. I really
I
enjoyed
want to see
tonight.
Grandma on a billboard.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Okie dokie, boys.
I want to see Grandma at the Hex conference next year at the after party.
Oh, I want to, and have a good
Yes.
beer or something. You know.
Yeah. It's a pleasure meeting you. And you too, Krim. I don't know if we've ever been on the stream at the same time before, but
I don't know, dearie. Where are you located, Freddie?
I'm in Northern Virginia. I'm right outside of Washington, D.C.
Oh, you know, my hometown is Washington, D.C.
Is it really? Okay. So Prince William County,
Ah, okay.
just a little south.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was born there because my dad was working there and my mother was a Canadian, and they got married and all that. And they had me there.
Very cool. Very cool.
And you guys are welcome to stick around in the green room after the show here. And
That's a
Joe,
good idea, man.
where do people go to see the next Hex?
You can go to
What's
Gifting
going on now?
You Hex. Funding Jim is about to be on right now. He's actually started with Johnny Chaos. So if you want to go,
Oh, we need to let them come on, and everybody
Yeah.
should go there right now.
absolutely.
Yeah,
So
Absolutely.
Maddie, I noticed D-Live is not working tonight for our stream. I don't think we started it, but Twitch might be. I don't know if you can raid on Twitch. If you can, let's throw them a raid. But everybody who's watching, please search in your YouTube URL. Please add Funding Jim and also Gifting You Hex. Either one of those should pop up.
Perfect.
And they have started. So we'll see you all over
should
there in the
subscribe
chat.
too. I'm a subscriber, so he pops on my feed, which is awesome. But yeah,
Yeah.
make sure to subscribe. Those are important, so that way you get it automatically.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you everybody for being here. Maddie, you wanna take us out?
I'm going to drop the link real quick here
Cool.
so that people will be able to join more easily, and ask people if you'd be willing to get people to subscribe to this channel. That would be a huge help.
Absolutely.
And
Smash
here's-
that like
subscriber.
button. Gently,
Smash
gently
the like,
press it.
people. Come on.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then subscribe and hit the bell notification. All.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Later, guys.